Now, my question for y'all is one sentence to describe the Cowboys quarterback situation. Lots of people have thoughts already. I don't know if this counts as a sentence from the 817. A mess. And from the 972, we're stuck in mediocrity for 4 more years. From the 817, as Jackson Brown says, running on empty. From the 214, the Cowboys QB situation needs to change drastically. That is not going to happen.
So I'll answer first because I was going to ask John Machota a question similar to this when we were out of time. I thought to myself, hey, what I get the hope is lost this year for most Cowboy fans that this isn't going to be the year, probably not even going to make the playoffs. But what's the hope for next year and the year after? If they're saying cap-wise we're screwed.
Yep.
They're already screwed this year cap-wise, and Kevin has broke down. You're not even really paying Dak close to his $60 million value yet, and you're already screwed, and you're still paying Micah Parsons' rookie contract.
Same with CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb's going to go way up next year.
What's the hope if you're a Cowboys fan for not only this year, but the next 2 years after that? I think there's a 3 years here where I don't know how they recover. I don't know how they add enough talent. You only have 1 first-round pick a year. They don't really try to trade talent to add more picks. You only have 1 second-round pick every year, 1 third-round pick every year, and that's without trading it to maybe get a veteran who can help. So I'm thinking to myself, you're asking a question about the quarterback.
Yep.
I get it. But it goes in hand. The quarterback demanded this much money, and the Cowboys said yes to it. I'm not faulting Dak's agent for asking for the most money in the NFL. He got it. But now with Dak, he's not good enough to carry an average team. He's proven that throughout his career. He needs a lot around him to be great, like a lot of quarterbacks.
Sure.
He's not other great quarterbacks. He's a good quarterback. So what's the hope that Dak at a higher elevated number can carry a team that's going to have lack of talent around him because of it?
Yeah, his number will continue to increase while theoretically his body will continue to decline.
Yeah.
And that's just a reality of us as humans. We cook. We do, Kevin.
No, you're right.
Our internal organs, by the time we die, are different colors than they were when we were born because we've cooked inside. It's a reality.
Oh, no.
I'm with Mike. I wish I was better at understanding the cap and developing a plan to know exactly what their plan is. Yeah, no, I mean, I really do wish I understood it because I do have a feeling that they want to do something down the road, but they're going to need Tyler Guyton to grow up. They're going to need Cooper Beebe to grow up. They're going to need some of these players that they've drafted on the defensive side of the ball to be hits. Mozzie Smith not being a hit really kills their plans for developing a line down the road.
They have to redo that position.
Why? Just because Pro Football Talk said that or Pro Football Focus had him listed as literally the dead last
2 years, like 2 years in a row too. Like that's. You need those things to develop. You're hoping that they develop while you're continuing to add to it. Now, if my sentence, Kevin, is going to be somewhere along the lines of doesn't have the tools around, the quarterback doesn't have the tools around him to be successful. That's a problem. He doesn't have the offensive line, has 0 run game, and that protects a quarterback, and then that puts him in a bad position. His body's also starting to kind of look a little different.
I just want to throw this out there, and we'll dive headfirst into this at another time. The next 4 years, I know people keep saying $60 million a year, and I hate to be the one to deliver the news
only
to you.
60.
It's not even close to that low.
Oh, what? You said low?
That's right. Here are Dak Prescott's cap hits for the next 4 years. $89.9 million, $68 million, $62 million, and $72 million. So I know people keep saying $60 million because that's what the deal was for. But remember all of the money that they carried over. And you know, we had Jerry Jones on a couple weeks ago. He's like, yeah, it's built into that contract where you can adjust some of the money. And I get it, but adjust it where? Like, they just keep pushing down into these void years, into these next years that still hit your cap. And if you don't think Dak's the dude now, you're not going to think that in 4 years. And what are you going to do with all that money?
It's not Dak's responsibility to save this organization.
Absolutely agreed.
That being said, man, how much do guys like Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes, now they have built-in winners in their organization. They can trust and believe more in their organization. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That they took at times big deals but left money on the table to know that, well, this is, if I take $5 million less per year, that's a $5 million player that we can have on my team. I'm not saying Dak should have done that, because the Jones have proved it doesn't matter. They can't win. They're not smart enough to do it, or they don't care enough to do it. One of them's true. It's one or the other. And so I just look at it and go, but Dak has killed this team building-wise, but I'm not blaming him. He got all the money he could possibly get,
sure,
and good for him and good for his family, but it puts guys that aren't competent at their job in even a worse position running a football team.
Yeah, there are so many other players on this roster that have problematic cap hits as well. They're just not as high because, they're not the quarterback. But if you want to dive into Terrence Steele, Zach Martin, we could go on and on.
And you wouldn't care about those cap hits if they were playing up to what their contract was, but they're not right now.
For sure. And that's the issue, is you have Terrence Steele for another 2 years. You have Zach Martin for another 2 years, unless he decides to retire, at which point you're still going to take a hit on that money. There are so many salary cap clouds looming over the Cowboys that at least if they were 5-2, 6-1, I'd be like, hey, the S storm is coming, but let's let the good times roll. The S storm hasn't even gotten here yet.
The storm clouds are gathering.
That's true.
I know that.
And they're gross.
Jerry Jones will never do this because he said all in. They actually need to be all out next year.
Fair.
And to your point, they need to let everything hit next year. They need to have the worst team possible and let Dak be an $89 million hit and go, we don't care.
I agree.
We're not restructuring this to move money down to do this or that. We are going to take a $90 million hit on our quarterback to try in 2026 or 27 to have a better ability. Load up whatever you can this year. In 2025, just have veteran minimum and league minimum rookies on your team and lose 12 games. Not that you're trying to lose, but you probably will, to try to get your cap in a better position to have a chance, I guess, with Dak. Because you're, like it or not, and I say stuck, you have Dak for 4 more years.
Yes. Because I see people asking, if he agreed to the trade, could you trade Dak Prescott? In theory, you're still going to take a massive hit. And that's why when I see people swoop in and say, that's why I want to trade Micah Parsons for more draft assets, I'm with you. But I don't think there's any chance that this organization views it the same way. We've had the conversation with Stephen Jones. We've had the conversation with Jerry time and again. They do not view things the same way. I think I'm viewing them from here are the actual numbers that are actually happening.
Yeah, it's weird that it is who they are. We know this for 30 years since he lost Jimmy Johnson. He does things. I know he changes. Jerry, I'm not stupid enough to know he doesn't change. But he does things in such a similar way that it's tough to get a different result from the way that he sees football.
Yes. Yeah, look, I'm with you on that, and I know they're going to carry over $20 million, give or take, to the cap. Great, that knocks Dak down to $69 million. And I know that there's hope that the cap goes up. There are some projections that it could go up quite a bit, $15, $17 million. That's great.
Who has a better understanding of that cap than the Joneses, Kevin?
But the thing is, the way they do the cap, and I'm sorry, I know we got other stuff to do, and we'll move on to it.
This is fun.
We can do whatever we want.
Okay.
We're talking Cowboys.
If we're talking about this in real life terms, and I know sports at times, a lot of big time things don't fit for real life. It feels like the Cowboys have a $10,000 limit on their credit card. They are currently at $9,800 and just getting by paying the minimum. And they're not so sure that next year they're going to be able to meet those minimum payments anymore. But they're projecting that their credit limit is going to go up to $12,000. So that should help them be able to kick a little bit more money out of it and ease the way so they don't default or violate the salary cap. And instead of going, you know what? I should probably take a step back and stop buying all of these things and reimagine what my budget looks like. And they're like, no, I'm going to get more money. Let's go for it.
I'm with you. And here's the tough thing is we are seeing in our community, in our Metroplex, Mark Cuban did things a certain way after 2011. And you could say even a little bit before, but I mean, it was just, what are we doing?
Yeah.
And then he said, screw it. It's not working my way. I'm not a big Mark Cuban, good job, Mark Cuban, but let's just look at it this way. He goes, you know what? Obviously, I'm struggling with this. And I'm going to turn it over to Nico. Fine, you guys think, I'm going to see. I'll see. I got this guy, Nico, who Michael Finley likes and some other people like. Dirk is telling me to hire Jason Kidd, even though I don't want to do it. I'll do it. You know what? I'll turn over the team to Jason Kidd and Nico, and let's see if it's any better. He was like, I'll take this bold move. I don't think at the time he knew he was going to sell the team.
Yeah.
And he's like, screw it. Let me see. And look at what Nico has done. Never in the history of Mark Cuban did you get a Klay Thompson to come to Dallas. We always heard about it, and it never happened. And we always heard about all of these big moves and trades and then you get Gafford and you get PJ Washington. I'm not saying Mark Cuban did nothing in his tenure as owner / kind of general manager, but you saw the difference Nico has made. It is a major difference from about a decade worth of Mark Cuban kind of running things and shooting things over Vegas Bob and Donnie Nelson and stuff like that. And that's the scary part for me. This is why I've quit the Cowboys is Jerry and Steven will never take the step back like Mark Cuban did and say, screw it. I'll let a general manager who's honestly has no right, it felt like, being a general manager, do this and see what happens. And look how much better Nico is at it than Mark Cuban, because he's not calling up Papa John and Pepsi and Coke and Budweiser and seeing if they can give them more money, because that's your job, Jerry. That's what you're good at. You're good at talking to CEOs of companies. You're pathetic at this football thing. I know you love football and you played in college and you did nothing in your life to get any money football-wise to buy the Cowboys, but bold move by you, Jerry. You did it, and bold move by firing Tom Landry and getting Jimmy Johnson. And at that point, after Jimmy left, you've been pathetic at this. Before you leave this earth, try to change something in your life doing this, because you're an ultimate failure doing this by yourself or in your way.
And I see the people texting in. You're right. I should have used the specific language
scholarships
that
not salary
Jerry used with Sean and RJ. You give one player 5 scholarships.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
You give another player 1 scholarship. Look,
you only have so many scholarships.
That's fine. We could use that exact same scenario. Why do we continue to give 3.0 students A+ scholarships and think that because I gave you that scholarship, you'll elevate to the level of A? That doesn't make any sense. No sense at all. But you know why it works? And you know this. I know you guys know this. Because you're not Jacksonville. If you were Jacksonville, you wouldn't be able to get away with this because people would just stop showing up and paying attention to your product. And you'd be like, holy crap, we have to do a hard reboot or even a soft reboot for a couple of years and then charge forward. But as long as you stay good enough, which I think is behind your idea of why the Cowboys win this weekend, then you're fine because you have that built-in cachet of being the Cowboys. If you're the Chargers, the Jags, whoever. I don't want to run down too many fan bases.
In a weird
way, you get the idea.
Browns.
As long as you care listening, and thank you for listening, we're not telling you not to listen. As long as you care as much as you do about the Cowboys, Jerry doesn't care. That's the weird part of this relationship you have as the biggest fan base in the world, is as long as you care this much, Jerry doesn't have to care.
This is a great question. I'm going to jot this down for Jerry tomorrow. What would the Cowboys' credit score be? 540. Not good.
Do they use credit? You think he uses credit cards, but probably just pay it's paid off by the accountants immediately?
You know what? I guarantee you that those personal finances do not run the same way that they run their salary cap. We're the KNC Masterpiece right here on 105.3 The Fan. Sorry, I know we got to go to break. One more thing. That's why Cowboys fans are idiots. Y'all keep showing up. And that's where, Mike, we've talked about this. I disagree with that. I don't think you're an idiot if you're a Cowboys fan, because I'm a Cowboys fan. I know I'm idiotic for thinking that this might be the year all of the time, but I grew up with the Cowboys. I learned sports with my mom and the Cowboys. I taught Brandon sports watching the Cowboys. Hopefully the same thing with Noah. Like, it is ingrained in my life. I don't think I'm an idiot for that. I just think, like, we're destined to be sad for a good while longer.